r/AskReddit, what's the most bizarre or interesting fact you know that sounds fake, but is actually true? Explain yourself. Stonehenge and the Great Pyramids were built at roughly the same time. And the pyramids look like shit compared to what they used to look like. Originally it was all smooth sides and white limestone. We only have the blocky core left now. And didn't they also have gold tops? Or at least I believe the Great Pyramid did. Armadillos always have identical quadruplets. Cool. My grandson is armadillo obsessed. I will pass this on. The highest peak of Mount Everest was first measured at exactly 29,000 feet but was instead reported as 29,002 feet to avoid the impression of an estimate. The first person to put 2 feet on Everest. Thank you, Chi. There are, unfortunately, no recorded cases of pirates forcing people to walk the plank. You can thank Hollywood for this. The original practice is keel hauling, which is much worse. However, it doesn't very good on film. Dead men tell no tales. The star Betelgeuse formed well after the dinosaurs went extinct. Well the golden age of piracy ended in the 1730s and audio recording wasn't invented until 1857. John Tyler, the 10th President of the United States, was born in 1790. He has a living grandson. 3 generations cover almost the entirety of US history. The city of Paris took the rats to court in the Middle Ages for causing the plague, and thanks to a brilliant public defense attorney, the rats won the case. Not Paris, autumn. And not plague, but grain. But the point stands, link. Rats facilitated the plague, fleas were the cause. The judge was being ratatouilled. Narcolepsy is often mistaken for insomnia or depression. Treatments for narcolepsy and insomnia can also be similar because both can heavily impact the quality of your sleep as much as they impact how much you sleep and when. I have severe insomnia and a friend with narcolepsy and we bounce ideas off each other sometimes. Narcoleptic, can confirm. Ponderosa pine bark smells like ice cream. Mostly vanilla, sometimes strawberry, and seldom chocolate. We used to go around the woods back home, smelling trees, and yelling what flavors we found. It's less than 10 million years old and is expected to go supernova within the next 100,000 years. Whoa, all my life I've smelled something in the woods now and then that reminds me of vanilla but couldn't track down the source. I assumed I should be looking for a flower of some kind. No one ever knew what I was talking about when I'd point it out. Maybe it's this bark, huh? You are 10 times more likely to get bit by a New Yorker than a shark. I believe it. It's a lot easier for a New Yorker to make it to central Canada than a shark. I don't know about that. I can picture a New Yorker biting a shark, especially if it's been cooked. Your skin doesn't have a specific sense organ to let you know if it's wet or not. Yep, just temp. Air temp alcohol with a cotton swab and water with a cotton swab on the wrist. The alcohol feels wetter because it is cooler due to faster evaporation. When the Great Pyramids of Egypt were being built there were still woolly mammoths walking around. Cleopatra lived closer to the modern era than the creation of the pyramids. Pyramids finished in 2490 BCE, Cleopatra alive 69 to 30 BCE, she was also comically inbred. When the Aztec Empire was founded, Oxford University in England was already 300 years old. This one always reminds me that Harvard was established before calculus was invented, which is a mindfuck. The color orange is named after the fruit. On March 3, 1983, former NFL quarterback Terry Bradshaw checked into a hospital, and used an alias to disguise himself. The fake name he used was Tom Brady. In 2005, Michael Vick was sued by a woman who claimed he knowingly gave her an STD. Per the lawsuit, he visited an STD clinic under the name Ron Mexico. For a long time you could not buy a custom NFL jersey with the name Mexico. There was a time in 18th century England that playing the bagpipes was punishable by death. Not a single of Pakistan's 29 prime ministers has fulfilled their term. Steve Irwin and Charles Darwin both owned the same tortoise. Her name was Harriet and loved to be 175 years old. She loved being 174 a little bit more. I once had a housemaid who was born in the 1700s, and I am not quite 50 years old yet. It's true. When I was a baby, my great-grandfather briefly lived with us. I'm my family's genealogist. I learned from a census record in England that my great-grandfather had lived in the same house as his great-grandfather who was born in 1797. Harrison Tyler, 95, is the grandson of President John Tyler born in 1790. The pistol shrimp clicks its claw together so hard it makes a cavitation bubble that is briefly hotter than the surface of the sun when it pops. The mantis shrimp smashes prey by striking them with their raptorial claws with an acceleration of over 10,000 g and a speed of 80 km per hour. Jack Black's mother worked for NASA and created the technology that saved the Apollo 13 astronauts. This is also why we call gingers redheads, and not orange heads. There was no word for that color hair, so folks just came close. Clicky. Link. She gave birth while finishing the technology that would eventually save Apollo 13. Link. She also has many more accolades. Jack Black's brother, Neil Siegel, Link, is also an incredibly accomplished engineer like their mother, creating many systems that we take for granted today. And also an incredibly talented musician. Jack Black isn't even the second most interesting person in his family, and I don't say that to diminish his talent. There have been more prime ministers of Israel born in Belarus than there have been prime ministers of Belarus. This is actually a new and weirdly hilarious one to me. WTF are the odds? The world-famous Pebble Beach golf course is public. Considered one of the best golf courses in America, anyone can play there. You do not need to be a member of a club. It's surrounded by private property and private roads, so you have to pay a gate fee to drive a car there. If you line up all of the planets in our solar system end to end, they would be able to fit in the space between the Earth and the Moon with enough space left over to include Pluto. If you take the intestines of a full-grown adult and stretch them out end to end on a football field, nobody will ever want to be your friend again. British military tanks are equipped to make tea. Nintendo has been in operation since 1899. It's actually 1889. The same year Hitler was born. Coincidence? Yes. Because cats and dogs live in an accelerated perception of time, 60 FPS screens don't look like real life for them, but if you have screen at 70 FPS, dogs will be able to see it, and 100 FPS for cats to see it and think it's real. That's pretty weird, Imo. Some blind people can see. The eyes work but the brain can't interpret the info. Yeah, it's an identified trend that dogs now actually will watch more TV than they used to in the last few decades, specifically because now it's actually watchable for them. Then there's freaking pigeons that see at like 75 frames per second. The Jonestown mass suicide victims didn't drink the Kool-Aid, as the expression goes, it was Flavor Aid. Link. The PR firm representing Flavor Aid really earned their pay on that one. Mike the headless chicken survived for 18 months with its head cut off. The owners took it on tour and fed it by dropping food and water directly into its esophagus. That's fucked up. I know with the head dead no animal was suffering, but it's still fucked up. Your eyes grow as you do, and sometimes they grow so much it causes vision problems. Also, a cowboy, samurai, pirate, and a Victorian gentleman could all have walked into a bar all at the same time. There is a disease called Kuru that was spread by cannibals eating the brains of those who died of Kuru. Kuru is a prion disease like mad cow, BSE, scrappy, CJD, CWD. It is 100% fatal, but quite rare. Scrappy and CWD haven't been found to infect humans, but not worth finding out if it could. Fun fact: it is extremely difficult to denature prions to the point of no longer being infectious. It takes prolonged exposure to heat of 900 F/482C, autoclaving with NaOH, or soaking in 40% bleach solution. In nearly every professional baseball field, home plate is west of the pitcher's mound. And the term southpaw is believed to have derived from that configuration. My mother had a friend that woke up one day and was blind. Apparently she had developed a tumor that pressed against an optic nerve or something that halted all information between her eyes and brain. She's got some eyesight back through operations though. One day on Venus is longer than 1 year on Venus. It's also the only one of two planets in the solar system that spins clockwise, all the others spin counterclockwise. It's been theorized it had some sort of collision with another planetary body, which is why it spins funny. Hello everyone. Thanks for sticking to the end of this video. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to humbly ask you to subscribe to the channel. According to my statistics, 100% of my viewers in the past 28 days are not subscribed. I have always wanted this channel to reach 1000 subscribers, and if you want to support and be a part of that, subscribe. It's free and it's an awesome way to support the channel. Thanks again. Reddit glitch out.